I remember the feeling of going down those steps and looking up because the audition floor was on the second floor, but there was a spiral staircase that went down. And I looked up, and I swear to you, it was like I was looking up at heaven. It was the weirdest feeling ever. I cannot explain it, but it felt like I was looking up at heaven. I just looked up there and smiled and thanked God. Welcome, my name is Titus Rhodes, and this is Young Clarity, a podcast about thinking differently no matter how old or young you are. Whether it's creativity, self-improvement, or even your faith, we talk about it all. We're driving down the street. My dad pulls into the parking lot, and he stops, and he looks at me, and he says, "What are you going to do?" This was the weirdest interaction that, to me, is a core memory. Because I remember we sat there and he looked at me and said, "What are we going to do?" He says, are you not going to talk to him? Are you not going to really try to go get it? Up to this point, I pretty much gave up, right? We have moments in our life like that where we give up. And we have moments where we don't feel like we can do anything. And my dad stops me and he says, "What are you going to do? Are you going to give up right here?" He says, "Why don't you ask the teacher for a retake?" I said, "I can't do that." He says, "Why not?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "You can do that?" He said, "Yeah." My dad, he's a doctor, has a not medical doctor, but educational. He has a doctorate degree and he's been in school, but he's up to him. I've known all my life is that my dad was also really bad at school. Really bad at school. Yeah, terrible. Had an F. He showed me his transcript. It was all Fs. I've never seen that before. All Fs. But he overcame and he still chased after his dream. And he was kind of giving me that lesson now. He was saying, "Why don't you go back and ask for a retake? You know how many retakes I took in my life? You know how many retries I had to take in my life?" I said, "I don't know." He says, "Go and do it." So I'm talking to him and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm faced with an option. I'm faced with the option of trying to go fight for this. He's like, because up to now, he's also seen me study every day. I knew the monologue front and backwards. I knew the songs front and backwards. I had no singing experience. I wasn't taking classes for it. No acting experience. No acting experience. No singing experience. Terrible GPA average. Terrible grades. No knowledge on how any of this stuff worked, but I did it anyway. So the next day, I decided to go and talk to my teacher. And talk to the teacher, I mean, I had an intervention. I got the teacher. I got the teacher who's the drama teacher, and I got the principal. And I think we had another meeting I had with my geography teacher. And I asked her, I said, "Is there any way I can retake the test or do anything?" And she gave me the ability to do something, extra credit or some type of way to retake the test. And God bless her because she was so nice to me. Miss Gregory, I love you. And I remember she let me go do that again. And we're taking it, and I don't know anything. But she's kind of she's like, no one else is in the classroom. This is just me and her. And she's kind of walking me through it to try to explain to me what all this means. And I don't know anything. So we're talking and we're doing this whole interaction of she's helping me out. And I get called up to the principal's office right after. And she asked me how I did. And my drama teacher, I'm sitting in the office with her, and it's like a little intervention. It's them two looking at me, talking to me, what to do next. Now, up to now, 6 weeks, I didn't know is that at the 4th week of the thing, you were supposed to turn in your papers. That's why I saw the big stack and I just grabbed the little papers earlier. I did not know. So I didn't have the papers. And auditions were that night. This was Friday night of the auditions. And for all the people who are confused about the timeline or anything like that, it's just how you just got to roll with it, man. But just let you know right now, the situation is this. It's Friday. The auditions are tonight. I don't have the paperwork turned in. I don't have good grades. I don't have a chance. I don't have the trust of them to really know. But I looked at them and they saw how much effort I was putting in. And you can't be mad at me if I don't know anything. Because if I don't know it, then I just don't know it. I wasn't doing this on purpose. And my effort was showing that, hey, this kid's trying. And I mean, I really stretched hard to get the grades in there. I sit down with the teacher, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, "I can make you a promise. Can I make you a promise? And I promise you that I would do everything I can. Can you just let me have the audition?" Principal looks over there. The drama teacher looks back at me. She says, "Okay, if you can get the papers turned in by tonight, then you can audition." So my dad comes, picks me up around 3 o'clock. Auditions are 7 o'clock. I give him the papers. He signs them in the car. He tells me good luck. We go grab something to eat. go get some food or something. He drives me back, drops me off. I wait for 2 hours. Those next 2 hours, I'm sitting in the hallway of the audition hall, and it's just a bunch of people in there. Like everybody who I'd never talked to, everybody I saw in cafeterias who I'd never reached out to, everybody's there. And I'm sitting there just by myself, kind of chilling. I see some of my cross country friends. I sit by them. I see some of the basketball friends. I don't sit by them because I don't know if I'm allowed to. I'm like, I don't know if I can talk to you guys. And we're having this moment where I'm just like, I can't believe I'm here and I'm actually about to do this. And I'm watching YouTube videos. Like I don't even know what the theater performance of it was. I don't think I watched the musical. I just think I was just watching the TV show or the movie so many times that I was trying to teach myself, hey, this is what we need to be doing. Um, is just looking at animals and cartoon animals and saying, okay, I'm gonna act like him. And I've been acting up like Timon this whole series. So I'm sitting with my friends, and here's the first time I ever learned about the theater life. I never realized that people could be going for the same role that you're going for. And that was a big lesson for me because I'm looking at them like, um, you guys trying to take the role I want. I want that role. I don't want to share it with you. And they're looking at me like, I don't care. I want to get this role. Good luck, man. And I'm nervous. Now I'm nervous. Now I'm competitive because I'm not qualified enough to be here. And not only that, the people, you're telling me there's people here who want to do the same stuff as me? And not only that, I gotta wait another hour and people are coming out looking like they just got yelled at, looking like they just got embarrassed. And they didn't get yelled at, but probably, but they just looked like they weren't confident. And I'm nervous. And this is the lesson of being a confident artist. This is where I also talk about this. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, dude, I don't know what and next thing I know, I'm walking in. It's my time for the audition. It's me and three guys. Three guys walk in, all going for the same role. Man, everyone in that room was going for the same role. All three of us. What are you guys here for? Oh, we're here for Timon. Um, each guy goes through their lines. They start singing, da 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 da. Another guy starts singing, da 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 da. Another guy starts singing, da 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 da. That guy is me. I'm saying da 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 da. She smiled after she saw me, because the theater teacher knew me. She knew that I just wanted a shot. That's all I wanted. I wanted a shot. I didn't know what the chances were. I just wanted a shot. Um, and after a while, she smiles and then she asks the other two to step back and she calls in. And I'm like about to step back too. She says, no, stand right there. So I stand there. She calls in two other guys who come in and these guys are going for the lead. They're going for Simba. I'm nervous because I'm like, Simba? I don't know anything about Simba. I didn't study a single monologue from him. I didn't study anything from him. I don't know anything. My papers are all gone and ripped up. I don't know where my papers are for my monologue. It's just in my head. Someone passes me the monologue. They pass me the book, the actual script book. They pass me the book and they give it to me. And I'm reading the book and I'm looking at the book and I see Simba. She says, okay, I want you guys to all read for this line, code read for it. So I'm code reading in front of this woman. And guy says his lines, da 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 da. And the guy says his lines, da 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 da. I say my lines, da 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 da. Poker face. Doesn't smile, doesn't blink, doesn't do anything. Just says, okay. Anything else you guys want to audition for? Two guys in the back are confused. They're about the audition for Scar. They audition for Scar. I'm sitting there like, I don't have anything else to audition for. And I say, thank you. And I walk out the door. I say, thank you. And I walk out the door. And I remember the feeling of going down those steps and looking up because the audition floor was on the second floor, but there was a spiral staircase that went down. And I looked up and I swear to you, it was like I was looking up at heaven. It was the weirdest feeling ever. I cannot explain it, but it felt like I was looking up at heaven. I just looked up there and smiled and thanked God. Because up to then, I didn't know I could even do that. And that was already too much for me to handle. So I walk out. My dad's sitting in the parking lot. He's waiting for me. He picks me up. He says, how you feel? I say, good. He says, okay, great. You finally did it. Well, now we just got to go home and wait. So when you gonna know when they pick someone? I said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know when. Just 2 weeks or something. He says, no, it's gonna take him 2 weeks. He said, I guess so. He was like, okay, let's go. We drive off. I drive off with my dad, and we get home, and The week they finally told it, because I told you they do the auditions in November, but they do they tell you who you are by December. So they give you the material over Christmas break. So in January we're rehearsing. Boom. Right. The time it is right now is like right before my first finals weekend. Keep in mind, guys, I had bad grades. I had bad grades. I was not ready for finals, and finals sounded scary because finals was what? Tests were already hard enough. Now you're telling me there's gonna be tests with 100 questions? No. No. I don't want to test with 100 questions. And it's like, this is not it. Lady takes me, I walk into the school and it's like finals week. It's like 3 days before. And I remember walking in and they had it weird setup. So they had it weirdly set up. So everybody was in classes weren't normalized. So like everybody was kind of sitting. So the way it worked is like you would walk into the front entrance, you would turn right, down the hallway would be the gym, and through the gym there would be different ways to get to different classrooms. So essentially the gym was kind of like that morning meeting room, I guess. Like, they had that morning hour before class starts, everyone's in the gym talking. That's kind of what it was. I walk in, boom, hallways packed up with everybody and their mama. I'm looking there and I'm confused. I'm like, what's going on with all these people? Why are all these people here? Because usually they're in the court. So I'm saying hey to my friends, and like, okay, now we're a little bit more closer. We talk a little bit more. It's not as like, I don't know what's the word. It's not as awkward. We're talking a little bit more. So I'm talking to my friends who I met also at the auditions. And one friend, he runs up to me. He says, "Dude, let's go, man. How you feeling?" I said, "What are you talking about? I feel great. I feel like we got a big test coming up and I'm kind of stressed out about it." He's like, "How you feel, man? You feel great." I said, I don't know what you're talking about. On the wall, and the reason there was a whole big group of people there, guys, is because on the wall they had plastered up the cast list for the whole entire production. See, thing about it though, I realized that in the paperwork, I think they send the cast list in emails, but I didn't have like my paperwork on time, so my email must have never got sent or something. I don't know. Or maybe this is just the way they did it. But it was very odd because I usually always got answers in an email. But they had it plastered on the wall. From the very top, who was lead, from the very bottom. Like just like that High School Musical crap. I'm walking in there and everyone's smiling. Everyone's looking at me. Some people are smiling at me. Some people are kind of like looking at me like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they got this guy. Who the heck is this kid? I walk over there, I look up. Very top of the list says Titus Rhodes, Simba. Um, wow. I remember that feeling because that feeling was so much bigger to me. And it's a weird story. It's a musical in high school and it's freshman year. It's basic, it's sappy, it can be a movie. But for me, it was such a pivotal moment because up to then I didn't know if I could do it. And seeing that I did it made me feel weird. Because not only were the statistics and odds against me, I mean, this was just the beginning of it. Um, but the fear I had to overcome to do something that when I was underqualified, where I was missing every deadline, where I was constantly going in and out of the principal's office. I mean, you guys already heard it. This was a crazy 6 weeks. And if it was jumbled, it was confusing at all. Yes, it was exactly how that felt. And I remember looking at that line on the wall, and that was like a big moment to me because that was what I was going to do. Because I wasn't the kid who was just the kid in the basketball kid. For me, I was the lead of the musical who was on the basketball team who didn't play. I was just a freshman who would go and like if the main guy would slid on the floor, my coach would point at me and say, grab some towels and go wipe the floor down with sweat. Cause he would like the main guy would go and have sweat all over the floor. I was the guy who was running super slow in cross country who couldn't ran for the life of him. Who just did it just because he wanted to try something and would just have cramps and always be breathing hard and could never keep up. Was always left behind. And from that moment, I was not left behind. I was somebody who everybody was looking at. And that was so special to me. That was special to me. It was special to me for the fact that when you're an artist and you're making things and you're going to discover what you want to do with your life. And now, fast forward years later, I'm a director. I make films. I tell actors. I make those same cast lists that people look forward to. And I think about the impact that made on my life is that if I ever did not try, or my dad never told me to go back, if they never told me to go and do something, if they never told me to go try, and I tell people this story and I get mixed reviews. Some people say, well, you're black, so of course you have to rule. Because I mean, the only other black kid really at the school was young Simba, and he was young Simba. But the truth is that it's more than that. And another thing is that they say I was a guy. So of course you're a guy, you're a guy in a musical. Of course I'm gonna give you a lead role because you're a guy. But what they didn't know is that most people in that show were guys. There's a lot of guys actually auditioning for it. People would try to take away what little joy and achievements you have and try to say, well, this is why it happens. You're not special. They'll try to take that away from you when you learn what you want to do. They'll try to take away the fact that of course you decided to do this because of your parents, or you did this because of this and this. But I want to let you know is that as an artist, take everything that you've ever been given and reflect on it because it's a gift. It's a gift to make art. It's a gift to do this. And it's not deserved sometimes. And you're going to be underqualified. And you're going to be not respected. And you're going to be the only one trying to chase it. But I'm here to tell you that you can do whatever. You can do anything if you really believe you can. And if you can't believe you can, talk to somebody and be the person for somebody else to say, hey, you can still chase it, man. So for that story meant a lot to me because that story was what I like to say was the birth of being an artist. Was everything else didn't work up to then. But afterwards, things got just a little bit better. And the saddest part about this story, I have to say, is that I didn't perform it because of COVID. I never actually got to play the role of Simba. I never got to perform it. I never did. But up to then, that was the story that mattered to me. Up to then, that was what changed me. Up to then, that is what was the defining moment. So why I make things the way I do. That was a defining moment for me because not only was I the only black kid with the worst grades, the worst chances, the most non-talk to, the most unsociable, the most uncool, the most did not know it all. I knew one thing. I knew that if you put enough effort into whatever you want to believe in or whatever you want to do, you will win. And effort always wins. And I put effort every single day to practice. I put effort every day to try. I put effort every day to win. And if I am unqualified and unable to do it, I will do it. Because it is what your responsibility is as an artist. And when you're an artist and you're trying to find what you're going to do in your life or what you're going to create or what you're going to try to do against all odds, I'm here to tell you that keep going, keep trying. And why don't you just go back and ask for a retake? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching another episode or listening to another episode of the Young Clarity Podcast. I want to let you guys know it's been an amazing time and we're hitting on episode 8 and episode 7 of this podcast, part 1 and 2 of this. And I want to tell you guys I have such an honor talking to all of you guys because you allow me to reflect and think about all the blessings Christ has given me. And I'm so thankful for you. This is Young Clarity, a podcast to help you see things a little bit differently. I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful Monday and keep on going back for the retakes.